Guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, you are welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, it's so good to have you back. My name is Nenye, or should I say it's so good to have me back, because it's been a while since I sat down to do my sit down on talk videos. I have been doing a lot of stuff. Today we're talking on long distance relationships, and I have to talk on this because these days we see a lot of success stories relating to long distance relationships. People are saying, oh, we met on Instagram, she sent me a DM, he sent me a DM, we were chatting on Facebook, Instagram, we made video calls, and then we are here. And then the success rate of long distance relationships may make it seem like, do people really have problems in long distance relationships? Is it better if you're not seeing this person? Does absence actually make the heart grow fonder in this case? We're going to be talking about all of that. I'm going to be highlighting some issues relating to long distance relationships and the obvious truth that it doesn't always work. It works for some people, but it doesn't work for some other people. And I'm going to highlight some of these issues. And if you can relate to this topic, if you've ever been in a long distance relationship, or if you're currently in a long distance relationship, or if you know someone that is or was in a long distance relationship, please share an experience, down in the comment section, because it might help somebody, around that. So I'd like to say that the success of long distance relationships, it's neither here nor there. It works for some people and it doesn't work for some others. And now I'm going to highlight some of the issues, the problems associated with long distance relationships. The first problem I'll be highlighting is lack of communication. Communication is the juice of long distance relationships. Too much of it and then it seems like you're choking this person. Too little of it and then it seems like you're not interested in what we have, our commitment, our relationships. So communication in long distance relationships, I'd say it's a big deal. And it's funny because in this era where it's easy for people to communicate, we're having such an issue. Back in the days when they didn't have various forms of communication, this wasn't really an issue. All they had to do was send a letter and then hope and pray that their lover gets the letter and replies it. And the ability of their lover to either reply or ignore their letter would determine the success of their relationships. Do we have movie lovers in the house? If you can remember The Notebook, when Jack was sending letters to Rose and Rose's mother kept hiding those letters, and he sent letters every day for a whole year, 365 letters, a letter a day, and she never got those letters. And then I didn't think there were means of communication for them to communicate, the way we do now. And so in 1 year, when she didn't get letters from him, she just assumed that he wasn't interested anymore. And when he didn't receive letters from her, he assumed that she wasn't interested anymore. That was then. Now we have Instagram, we have WhatsApp, we have Snapchat. You're basically seeing your partner's day-to-day activities. And yet the communication might be too little or too much. For when it's too much, we are looking at the issue of time difference. This is your partner, even if there's no time difference, this partner is in another part of the country, the world, wherever, and has daily activities. He or she has stuff to do, and you also have stuff to do. But then when the communication is too much, it's like, I have a day to attend to. I can't always be doing this. We can't always be on the phone. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means we can't always be on the phone. The other person is not going to understand it that way. It's going to look like, oh, okay, yeah, so I'm being clingy, or is this relationship too much? Lack of communication, too much or too little of it can be an issue. The next problem is trust issues. People have trust issues and you can't blame them. When the person is not there, once there's this distance between you and your partner, it takes a whole lot for you to trust and hope that they won't mess up. If you're not there for your partner, you're assuming that someone is there for your partner, So trust issues will be one of the major issues relating to long distance relationships, because you're not seeing them physically, you're not always with them. Even people who are not in long distance relationships have trust issues. Someone could be dating her neighbor and still have trust issues. Now you talk about somebody dating someone else who is somewhere in the world, a totally different time difference. And in your mind, you're thinking, if they're not seeing me every day, they're probably seeing a more attractive person every day. And those thoughts creep into your mind and make you feel like, can I really trust my partner? If I'm not there for the person, is someone filling my space? I would like to commend people who have successful long distance relationships. Well done, because it's a lot of work. It is a whole lot of work. Trust issues, it's not easy. All it takes is for you to see a post or a video they made and somebody is in the background, maybe a cute girl or a handsome guy, and you're like, who is that person? And like, oh, my friend. And in your mind you're thinking, my friend? Your friend who? How come you never told me about this friend? You should know that any little thing can trigger that lack of trust issue in a relationship, especially in a long distance relationship. Another issue there is miscommunication. It's funny because we have so many apps, we have so many things, so many modes of technology. So what do I mean by miscommunication? You're chatting. It's usually chatting. This is why some people prefer calls to chat. You're chatting and then you say something and the other person reads it this way and understands it this way. And you know, it's so easy for you to cut them off. It's easy because your partner can just annoy you right now and you will block the person. And you know, if you block the person today, you don't get their calls today, you don't get their calls tomorrow, and your partner doesn't get your call or today, tomorrow, it's easy for them to like move on. It's so easy. And everything that triggered this was what? Miscommunication. These days we are communicating with emojis, we are communicating with GIFs, we are communicating with memes and videos, and then so both of you are just lost in translation somewhere. And if you do not have the patience to really understand where your partner is coming from, then miscommunication would be the major or a major problem in your long distance relationship. All it takes is to ignore their call 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and if the other partner gives you the energy you're giving them and reciprocates, that's it. And that's why we hear stories of, oh, we were dating and then he just ghosted me and I ghosted him too, because you know, there's no distance. You're not like bumping into yourselves to talk about things. It's not like you're physically around the person, and if you have a fight, the person is at your door the next morning with flowers or whatever. Your worlds apart, and so that makes it easier for you to just cut them off. Miscommunication is a major problem in long distance relationships. The next issue here would be unfaithfulness. This is a major issue. First of all, this is a major problem in relationships that are not even long distance. Now, when you talk of long distance relationships, it's an accumulation of everything. There's miscommunication. You guys had a fight yesterday, lack of communication. You guys are not even really talking every time. Trust issues. You already have trust issues that this person is not even, you know, faithful or something. And then when everything comes together, it now boils down to unfaithfulness, because you're thinking, is this relationship even worth it? I'd rather just move on. As human beings, we crave the people we love physically. Could be holding hands, pecking, just being by them is enough. And long distance relationships make it so difficult, extremely difficult. And for people who are not so strong in relationships, they end up being unfaithful. And you know, it's even very easy for people in long distance relationships to hide it, because your partner is not walking into your house and saying stuff. It's happening long distance. This is a major problem in long distance relationships, and I would like to think, from my opinion, that it's an accumulation of a lot of things. Apart from the fact that being unfaithful is one person's decision to just mess up. You shouldn't blame it on anybody. It's your decision. Even if you guys had a fight, you don't say, oh, we had a fight, so I'm going to cheat. No. It boils down to your principles. If anybody cheats, that's theirs. But also a lot of things make it easier for this person to cheat. And when we talk of lack of communication, miscommunication, trust issues, like I just mentioned now, when we have all of those, then don't be surprised if the person goes to cheat. So yes, unfaithfulness is one of the issues relating to long distance relationships. A lot of people would tell you they won't even want to be in long distance relationships because they might not be faithful. They might just be people who really want physical touch, physical attention and all of that. And if they know themselves and they know that they can't live without their partner for that long, they'd rather not be in a long distance relationship. To show you that unfaithfulness is indeed a fear that they do not want to experience. The next problem I would highlight is comparison. And this one is not even about long distance relationships. It happens, people compare. Even comparing generally is unhealthy. Comparing your success to someone's failure is unhealthy. Their failure to your success is unhealthy. And then even in relationships, physical, the person close to you unhealthy, then long distance even more unhealthy. But in some cases, people compare their long distance relationship to another person's long distance relationship. But you should just know that comparison, first of all, is an issue. Then comparing your relationship is also a major issue. The grass is always greener on the other side. You really don't know what the other party is going through. And so if you have a friend who is in a long distance relationship, the dynamics of their relationship would totally be different from yours, and it would be unhealthy for you to compare. The moment you start comparing, you won't know, but in your mind, you're just like weakening your resolve. In your mind, you're just like, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can do this. You start to believe it before you even start to compare. And when you start to compare, it makes it easy for the relationship to fail. Just as our faces are different, our attitudes, our tolerance, everything, our relationships are so different. And the moment you start to compare yours with someone else's, you're asking for trouble. So yes, comparison is a major issue in long distance relationships. And sadly, people compare. Just know that if you're in a long distance relationship and you compare regularly, not even regularly, if you find yourself comparing, your relationship will fall like a pack of